All right. Well, hope everybody's doing all right. We should be able to finish up our current lesson. What did we begin talking about yesterday? Standard deviation, okay. And we were working how to do that both by hand and on the calculator. It's actually one of those concepts we saw on the calculator before I ever showed you how to do this by hand. All right, so we're in the third week. And I'm doing this for all my classes. I just want to kind of quickly revisit a few expectations. You guys are doing great. Absolutely keep it up. But there's just a few things I want to go ahead and remind you of, kind of emphasize. The website and tutorials. So let's talk about the website for just a second. Let me come on over here. Now, right now, I'm in pre-cal. So let's go to math studies. Okay, so just in case anybody has not signed up, is there anybody who has not yet signed up for the classroom? Okay, here's the code. Sure. Okay, so the code is 5D1TB. Go to classroom.google.com. In the top right corner, you're going to see a little plus icon. Click it, join, put in the code, and then you should see all of this wonderful material. So 5D1TB. All right, and if I need to put that up again, I will. But everything you're going to need is here. Now, my newest post has a ton more of these internal assessments. And speaking of, what's due tomorrow? Okay, the topics are due tomorrow. I still have some of those documents over there in one of the bottom 5 folders. I don't remember what day it was that I gave it to you, but I remember seeing extra copies over there for the first week on the website. There are additional copies here. But if you go ahead and take a look, you've got example 1 annotated and example 1 comments. So you click on annotated. This is what is the relationship between the weight of a car and its carbon dioxide emissions and its fuel consumption. So what it does, you remember I gave you a document that had 7 criteria on how your paper was going to be graded, like a rubric. Well, it goes through and it shows you the items specifically applying to those specific criteria. All right, and you can go all the way through. Now, once you take a look at it, if you go to comments, it gives a little bit of information for each of the criteria. So this paper here was actually scored an 18 out of 20. So this paper was very well done. Okay, and I think there's a few in there that are 11s, and I think there's a few that are a little lower as well. But if you're wanting to get a really good idea of how the IA is going to work, I mean, that rubric, read through a few of these. Excellent, excellent examples to go ahead and get you started. But also, just some things I think personally, I think a table of contents just really adds to your paper. I think it makes it a little better. It shows more organization. You took the time to think out what it was. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that you have to have a table of contents. I'm just saying that is something that I would go ahead and do. Does anybody have any questions on the IA since we're talking about it? No? Okay, so tomorrow, and I think I'm going to go ahead and record that as probably either a daily grade or a quiz grade. I haven't decided yet, but I am going to go ahead and record that for a grade. Tomorrow you also have your what? Exam. Okay, so got a little off topic there, but you have all these. If you scroll down, now we're on the current week. August 27th to August 31st. So on any day that we are actually discussing some material, which is pretty much going to be every day we come in, you want to be looking at the video links. Like, for example, this one here, standard deviation lesson part 1, means we haven't finished it yet. We began talking about it, but more importantly, I always have the date that follows. Okay, so yesterday we started talking about standard deviation, and you'll notice more often than not, it's going to be within the same week. The only way that a video won't be in the same week as its lesson is if, say, maybe we started it on a Thursday or Friday and we had to finish it the next week. So I always post the notes in the week where we started. So click on standard deviation. This is currently what we're going over. We had a lot of fun yesterday with the dog problem. Okay, just listen to the video and okay. Did you have a question, sir?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm just going to assume that that our exam will be over the notes with the number labels 1, 2, 3.
Yes. The only thing I don't believe I put on there was standard deviation. because I don't know if I was confident that we were going to get there, but frequency tables, histograms, box and whisker plots, cumulative frequency, definitely those are going to be on the test. Okay, so more than likely next week I may do some kind of exit ticket or quiz over standard deviation. We are going to get an assignment, and if everything goes as planned today, knock on some, well, fake wood, but hopefully I can get you that assignment, give you time to go ahead and get started on that, and we'll see what happens. But I'm not 100% on board with giving that to you today because what's happening tomorrow? Your test, and I would rather you take the time looking over preparing for the exam than over the new material. So I guess I'll kind of think about it as we go along. But does anybody have any questions on the website? Okay. Excellent opportunity to keep up if you're ever out, your illness, family emergency, or school activity. Whatever the case is, you can always log on here 24/7. You can go ahead and click on a video. If it's been so long you don't remember what my voice sounds like. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and begin. There you go. Okay. Works out just fine. Any questions about the website? Okay, the only other thing I want to go ahead and mention to you is tutorials very quickly. Now, guaranteed any morning, Monday through Friday, 7:45 to 8:05, I am here with nothing better to do than answer any questions people have who come in and see me. So that time is set aside for you guys. I just want to go ahead and point out, and it's not with this class, it's just it's been happening a lot with my pre-calculus students. What is it after school? Okay, by appointment. Yes, I'm really stoked that people are coming in. You know, you're wanting to ask questions, you're wanting to get help. But if I'm not told that you're going to show up, then I'm going to make other plans. I might be leaving to go pick up my kids. They might want to see me down in the office or whatever the case is. So if you come in without telling me, it's almost like rolling the dice. I may be able to make some time to help you out, and I want to, but if I don't know ahead of time, it may not happen. Okay, John.
What if you can't make it before or after some tutorials?
That's all I have. Last year, I did open up my lunch, and that did not turn out very well. So that's the only times. Maybe, do you have any open periods? Second period? Nope, I have pre-calculus. Maybe you and I can get together and we can think of something, but before and after school are the only times that I have available for that. Okay, so we'll figure out a solution. We'll figure out something. Michelle.
So if we do want the after school tutorials, when do we have to tell you?
I would prefer, if it's going to be in the same day, at least swing by before noon. That'll give me enough time to go ahead and make sure I can move things around if need be, or maybe make a phone call, let me know, hey, I'll be picking up the kids a little late or something, you know, along those lines. But what I'm seeing in the past couple of weeks, the good news is some people are saying, hey, I'm going to be coming in. The bad news is it's in the conference period between 7th and 8th. So it's like less than an hour before school ends, and they're like, hey, I'm going to come in. And I'm like, oh, that's great. Let's just try to go ahead and get a little more ahead of that. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Cool. All right. So there we go. Did anybody need the code again? Code for the website. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and do this. We finished yesterday. I think we had barely started this table. Is that right? Okay. And I went ahead. How many people had the opportunity to go home and fill in that table? Okay, so more hands are going up. Awesome. Okay. So let's go ahead and do this. Now, this one was different, remember, because this was a frequency table. The first ones that we've already looked at, we've known what the exact data is going to be. So here, we wanted to go ahead and follow this formula. Just, a quick recap. What exactly is standard deviation? Like, it's a measure of what? What does it help us do? Hey, Simmer.
It's measuring the difference between the scores and the mean. So
So measuring the distance between the scores and the mean, and what else were you saying?
it's like the given information between the means.
Okay, so it's a numerical value that kind of symbolizes the distance that we're going to find from the mean. Okay, now what was the other word that we kept bringing up yesterday where it's easy to confuse it with standard deviation? Because until you take the square root, you don't have that. There you go. One of the values we were talking about was this guy right here, the variance. So without the radical, if I take the sum of the frequency times the squared differences and then divide that by n, that's what we call the variance. Okay, and it's real easy to forget, that may not be the standard deviation. So once you have the variance, once you take the square root of it, then we have the standard deviation. So essentially, it's a numerical value that's going to tell you how spread out your elements are within a set. Okay, so the larger the standard deviation, the larger the spread you should see between your numbers. The smaller the standard deviation, they should be much closer together. And we saw a couple of examples like that yesterday. So here is the table completely filled in. Okay, and we're going along with this formula here. So we need to go ahead and take the sum of the frequency times the difference squared. All right, so we took the frequency times that. Okay, that's how we got this column right here. We got this sum, so that's the numerator in the formula. Okay, we're dividing by n, which is the total number of terms in the set. So there's 50 because I just added up the frequency values. Okay, so I divide that. Now, if I simply take the 283.68 and divide by 50, that is the, starts with a V, variance. Once I take the square root of that, then that's my standard deviation. Remember, we're going to use this lowercase Greek letter sigma to represent that. Okay. All right, now we're going to go ahead and go through another one of these together by hand, but why don't we go ahead and do this one on the calculator. Okay, so let me get my table in front of me. So you guys are going to walk me through this. All right. Come on down here. All right, so let's say I go back to my home screen. All right, so let's say I want to go ahead and put in this frequency table so that I can find the standard deviation, or I want to find maybe just the mean, or I want the information for the box and whisker plot. Where would I go first? Okay, so we can go to New Document, okay, and we can click List and Spreadsheets, or right down here, we can simply go down to the icon itself, however you want to do it. Now what? Okay, there we go. So I always like to label the top one X, the first column. I mean, depending on your data, you can label it whatever you like. And then here we do have a frequency column. Okay. Is there something about this row? Yeah, leave it alone. Don't put anything in this row. We want to avoid it. Okay, so let's take a look here. We've got scores. So 11, 12, it looks like it goes all the way to 19. 13, 14, 15, 16, 19. Okay, what was a little trick to get back to the first cell? So if I hit Control and 7, take me right back up to the top. And now let's go ahead and put in the frequency, the number of times that element occurs. So I've got 3, 4, 5, 2, 15 appeared 8 times. 16 was 9, 5, 8, and 6. And always push enter or go ahead and arrow out so that it takes that cell. Okay, so perfect. My table of data is in. Now what? Where would I go? Okay, so I'm in an empty cell. And it does not matter which empty cell. I just always choose the bottom right one just because I'm strange. So I heard menu, statistics, stat calculations. This is one, but we put in 2 columns. There you go. Remember, the frequency just tells you the number of times. It's still just one set. Okay. So one variable. When this box pops up, just go ahead and click OK. What's this? Okay. So let me go ahead and delete that. So X list is the first column. Okay. Tab. We're going to delete that. Then I'm going to put in my frequency. And where will all my information show up? Column D. I mean, you could change that to whatever, column you want, but I would just always go with what the calculator has. And now I'm going to click OK. And let's see. Okay. So the mean of all the data I have, 15.62. The sum of all the data ended up being 781. Okay, now remember, both of these are standard deviation, but which one am I interested in? The sigma one. Okay, and let's see, right here I'm showing about 2.38. If I go back over here to my notes, that is exactly what we got. Okay, all the information should be matching up. In fact, right here, you'll notice 781. That's the sum of all the terms. That was one of the bits of information that we just saw. Okay, I prefer to do it this way because not only does it give you the standard deviation, but it gives you more. Okay, and the very last set, it'll always give you the information for a box and whisker plot. Okay, so minimum 11, max 19, median 16, so on and so forth. Okay, yes, ma'am.
Exams, which you prefer us to do it all by hand?
Sometimes it's going to depend. If I'm providing you a table on a quiz or a test, I'm going to want you to show me by hand. Now, you can confirm it using the calculator, but if I provide the tables, I want you to do it by hand. Other times, if there's no table, or it might even say use technology. Okay, either way. But, I mean, while it's important, I think, to understand how to do this by hand as well, when it comes to the paper exams, you're going to want to really be familiar with what? The calculator, yeah, because you're only going to have 90 minutes. You have 15 questions on the first exam, 6 questions on the second exam, and you're going to be busy. You're going to be taking care, so you're not going to want to do this stuff by hand. Okay. All right, so that's a good point. Good point. All right, so everything works out. Any questions on that? And then what do we always want to do as soon as we're done with a particular problem? Yeah, clear the document. So I always like to just say Control W and say no. There's also a way you can do this. Okay, another way. You can hit Control Up. Maybe you just want to go ahead and delete a particular page. You've got a couple open, but you just want to delete one. You can actually scroll through however many you have open and delete them like this. Okay, but either way, you want to delete this? Okay, there we go. All right, perfect, 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 perfect. Good, 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 good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and look at another table here. Now, how is this one different from the one we just did? There you go. See, and while in the other table, I could know exactly what the data is. In fact, we started listing it out yesterday. Here, I have no idea. It's been divided up into these class intervals, and it is continuous. See, because while the first one ends at 10, not including, what's the second one do? Picks right up at 10 included. So it goes all the way through. Now, whether we're trying to find just an estimate for the mean, or we're trying to find standard deviation, and we have class intervals, what do I want to use? Okay, the midpoint. There we go. But for the interval, we could say median. Okay, but we want to go for the midpoint. Just a little bit of review, because what's happening tomorrow again? Let's say I wanted to go ahead and create a cumulative frequency graph. By plotting the points, what would I use from the interval?
The highest value.
There you go. If you're creating a cumulative frequency graph, the x value is the largest value in your interval with your cumulative frequency.
Would it be 10 or like 9?
It would be 10. Okay. Even though, I mean, you could go ahead and say 9.9 and probably it'd be more correct, but 10 would be perfectly fine. Because the thing about statistics, you're always going to have people who are saying close enough. But for the rest of mathematicians, they're like, no, we want to be more exact. So it's a little give and take. Hello. Okay. Araya. Okay. There you go. Araya. It says pass to the office immediately. Joey, would you hand that to her, please? Thank you. Okay. So let's see here. It says find the standard deviation for the following distribution of examination scores. All right, so I only know I have one score between 0 and 10. I got 4 between 30 and 40. So maybe one's 30, maybe one's 32, 37, 39. We have no idea. Okay. So here's my table. Okay. So let's go ahead and fill this in. Now the class intervals were 10 wide and 0 to 10, 10 to 20. Okay, and it went all the way to 100. So 0 less than or equal to, are they using x? Yes. X, which is less than 10. 10 less than or equal to x, which is less than 20. 20 less than or equal to x, which is less than 30. Let's do this, 20, 30. Just to kind of make it go a little faster. I got a little ahead of myself. Okay, there we go. All right. So there are all my class intervals. What is the midpoint between 0 and 10? 5. And this is going to be real easy to determine. And since the intervals are all 10 wide, that means the midpoints have to be 10 apart. So the next one would be 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and finally 95. Okay. And now the frequency, and I'll tell you this, so we don't have to just flip my screen back and forth. Why don't you guys go ahead and tell me? I remember there was one between 0 and 10. What about between 10 and 20? There's only one? Okay. Next up. 2, 4, 11. Okay. And that totals, what's that? 80. Perfect. Okay. So we need to go ahead and fill out the rest of the table. So it's probably going to be better if we just go ahead and do it row by row. Okay. So let's do the first row together. I want to go ahead and take the frequency and multiply it by that midpoint. So 5 times 1? 5. Okay. Now it says I want to go ahead and do what? Now we need the mean. Okay, so how am I going to find that? Okay, so we need to add all the what?
I mean, don't you need to find all the add those together and divide it by the frequency?
There we go. So we do got to fill out this column, right? Okay, because that'll be the total of all the values that we're saying are in the set, and then we're going to divide it by 80. That's how we're going to get the mean. Okay, so let's see here. 15 times 1 is 15. 50, what's that, 140? Okay. 45 by 11, what's that, 461? $495, really? Really? Because 45 times 10 would be 450, and then we just add 11 more.
That's 495.
495? Oh, yes. I'm a math teacher. Awesome. Okay, yeah, just go ahead and tell me these numbers because I'm obviously doing great. 55 times 16. 880. Okay, next up. 1560. 75 times 13. 975. 85 times 6. 5 what? 10. And 95 times 2, I can do that one, 190. Yay, I still know math. Okay. Now the sum I need for that whole column right here. Let's see. Now, hold on. I got 4,820. Yay, I can add. Can't multiply with the crap, but I can add. Okay, 4,820. So let's see. I'm going to take that 4,820. I'm going to go ahead and divide by the 80. Okay, I forgot that number. 4,820 divided by 80. 60.25. Okay.
Putting a decimal after the top
Yeah, because I've noticed there's a way you can go ahead and change it. I believe if you go ahead and hit Control Enter. But a lot of times, the Inspire, because of the way their settings are, if I were to go ahead and type in the fraction, 1/2, 1/2, it's going to say, oh yeah, that's 1/2.
And
So for me, instead of just getting it and then clicking Control Enter, I just put the decimal at the end and it automatically converts it for me.
okay, yeah, because I do like the menu
Yeah.
number
Mhm.
decimal.
Yeah. Okay. So we're good on that? 60.25? Okay. All right. So now let's go back to the first row. So I want to take x, which is the midpoint. Typically, you would take the element itself, and I'm going to subtract what we have. So what is 5 minus 60.25? Okay, negative what? 54.75. Would you guys agree? So it's negative 55.25? Okay. Maybe we just typed it wrong. Okay. Now I want to go ahead and square it, and I want to go ahead and multiply that by my frequency. All right. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and take my negative 55.25 squared. So I'm getting 3,052.56. Would you agree? 3,052.56. It was 56. Okay. And then times 1 is going to give me the same thing. 3,052.56. That is a 52. Okay. All right, so now we know how to fill them in. We have the mean. We can get got that first row taken care of. So why don't we go ahead and do this? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we'll go 10. Okay, so let's get some folks up here one at a time to go ahead and finish filling in these rows. Who wants to do the second row? Basically, everything's already set up. Okay. Like in this case, you have to take 15 minus 60.25, square that, multiply it by the frequency. Okay, so everything you need is right there. Ma'am, you want to do the next row? Okay, let's do it.
Okay, so I typed it in, so 15 minus 60.25 equals negative 45.25.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, and then square will be 2,047.56. And then you multiply by the frequency, which is 1, so it stays the same.
Okay. Did you guys agree? There you go. Okay. Row 3. Okay, Louise. And I said it right. Louise. There you go. So he's got 20 to 30. Anybody already thinking they want 30 to 40? Okay. I'm sure we can get somebody. All right. So 50 minus 60.25. Or not 50, I'm sorry, 25. Looking at the wrong column. So negative 35.25, good. $1,242.56, perfect. But now we're going to multiply this one by 2. That value appeared twice, 2 values in that interval. 2,485.13. Perfect. Perfect. All right, 30 to 40. Okay, Peyton? All right. 30 to 40. So we have 35 minus 60.25. Negative 25.25. Perfect. Okay, square that. 637.56. Good. And now we need to multiply that by 4. So 2550.25. Okay. Good. Good, good. Next up, 40 and 50. Okay, Spencer? Okay. So you can probably start to see now why they definitely would not have you do one of these by hand, why the technology is way better, because this is very tedious. Okay. One little mistake, and you can throw your whole answer off. Okay, so Spencer says, okay, negative 15.25. Okay, good. $232.563. Okay, that'll work. And then we multiply it by the frequency of 11. 2,558.19. Perfect. That's exactly what I'm getting. All right, we've only got a couple rows left. 50, 60. Okay, Libby? All right. Okay, so a midpoint of 55. We want to subtract the 60.25. Oh, that's okay. Is that negative? Is that a negative 5?
Yeah.
0.25. Okay, perfect.
And then that.
27.562. 5. Okay.
That's a 5, but it like cuts out.
Okay. All right.
And then
And then now we want to multiply that by 16. 441. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Nice job. 60 and 70. Only so many opportunities left. Okay. Well, it is 2 o'clock, so we definitely want to finish before we go. So, Eli, go for it. You are doing 60 to 70. Midpoint of 65 with a frequency of 24.
Okay. Okay, see, so 60, 70, midpoint is 65. Find there between that and 60.25. We on the 12.75.
Okay. Squared.
And then square it. 22.5625.
Okay. And then we multiply that by the frequency.
By the frequency, so you get 428.68. Does that check out?
Okay. Now, after my track record today, I'm thinking I'm wrong, but that's the first time I'm not matching up. I got 541.5. Is that what you guys are getting? Okay.
Okay, my bad. What was it again?
541.5.
541.
Ooh, Well, thank you, Eli. You make me feel better about myself, though.
Right here.
Okay, 70 and 80. Okay, come on up, sir. All right, Samir will take care of 70 and 80. So after this, we're only going to have 2 rows, and then we just need somebody to give us that grand total of the values we have there. So that should be the easiest. You just sum it up in the calculator. Okay, so 14.75, good. Square that. 217.56. And then 28.31. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. 3 more. Next up is 8090. Who wants to? Okay, go for it, man. Kiara. 80 to 90. Okay, I'll need someone for 90 to 100 and then the sum. Okay. Okay, so 24.75. Perfect. Square that. 612.56. And then we'll multiply that by a frequency of 6. 3,675.38. Yes. Perfect. Michelle? All right. Good, good, good. Is there anybody out there who's already thinking they want to write the total? Gabby? Okay, good. I'm sorry? Okay. So let's see here. The difference. 34.75. Good. Okay, square that. 1207.56. Okay. And times a frequency of 2. She's saying 2,415.13. Exactly. Good job. And Gabby, now we just need the total of that last column from 3,052.56 all the way to 2,415.13. Yes. Okay, that's what I got. So it's been a long journey, big table to fill in, but we got it one step at a time. 22,595. All right. Now, how does that number that we finally reached, how does that give me my standard deviation? What do I do? We got to divide it by 80 and take the square root. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead, 22,595. Let's come on over here. The square root. 22,595 divided by 80 terms that we were dealing with. I'm getting 16.8 for my standard deviation. How we doing? Okay. All right. And did you already check it on the calculator? Very cool. Now, just to do a quick side-by-side, I mean, that took a decent amount of time to go ahead and fill in. You can definitely see how one mistake can really ripple through the entire problem. Should we go ahead and try to do this on the calculator real fast? Just do a comparison? Does anybody want to see it? Sure? Okay. So let's see if I can get this in before the bell rings. I got 6, so challenge accepted. All right. So walk me through this. First, I know I go spreadsheets here. Let's go X, frequency. And then I think we're midpoints, right? 5, 15, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95. Okay. Control 7. And then what was my frequency here? So it was 1, 1, 2, 4, 6, 16 or 6? 6. 6 and then 2. All right, I'm in an open cell, menu. What do I go to? Statistics, stat calculations, one variable, click OK. This is when we delete. We choose the first column, tab, delete, choose the frequency. Okay, it's going to be in column D. And what did we get? 16.8? There we go. Okay, there we go. How are we doing on standard deviation? Okay. Now, I can get the assignment out to you in about the 2 minutes we have left. Would you rather we wait? Let's just wait? Okay. So we'll wait. So when you come in, there'll be up on the screen probably some kind of Word document that says, go ahead and put your cell phones over to the front because we're taking our test, and go ahead and turn in your document on your IA. I need your topic. All right. So if you have any last-minute questions or concerns, I will be here tomorrow morning at 7:45. Guys, you did a fantastic job today. I can't thank you enough. Thank you, thank you. So let me get out of here. Control W. Let's go ahead and get those calculators back on the wall. Yes.